Let's look at how car share or going by Modo compares with going by bus. Vancouver to Whistler, there's a very good bus service called Epic Rides. I've taken it myself. What I love about taking the bus is that you can go all the way up to Whistler in the morning, ski all day, then at the end of the day you can stop and have a couple of beers, and then you don't have to drive back. You can get on the bus and just go to sleep on the way back. You don't have to worry about driving. So sometimes I use the bus just for if I don't feel like driving back in the dark with the rain. Perhaps it's not something I enjoy doing, especially if you've been skiing all day and you got up really early in the morning. It's probably a lot safer as well. I'm feeling pretty tired. Whistler closes its slopes around about 3:30. It's quite a short day if you don't get there early. An hour 45 on the bus gets you from downtown Vancouver to Whistler Village Gateway Loop. From there it's like a 5-10 minute walk to the gondola. Epic Rides round trip fare is $43, but there's no discount for kids, so the total for our party of 3 comes to $137.81. That's after a small tip for the driver. We'll be getting this 6:20 a.m. bus. That would mean getting to Burrard Station, which is basically downtown Vancouver. Probably we'd get the SkyTrain. And that's $2.50 for me, and it's $2.05 for my 14-year-old son. And kids go free. Kids go free 12 and under. In Vancouver and in Whistler. But not so for the 14-year-old. So adding transit, round trip for transit would be $9.10. And then when we get to Whistler, and we would have 4 days there, we would need to get a bus to our accommodation. On those 4 days, the first and the last day would just be one way. We'd arrive and then we're assuming that we can leave the luggage somewhere and then go skiing. We'd have to pay $10 for the 2 of us to go one way on the first and last day from accommodation. And then on those 2 other days, sandwiched in the middle, we would take a day pass each. So that's 2 times 14. Which is another $28. And so what we have when we add it all up, when we add up all the buses, the Epic Rides bus, the transit in Vancouver, the transit in Whistler, we have a total of $184.91. And how does that compare with Modo and the car? If you haven't seen it already, check out my video with a breakdown of the cost of this particular trip. But long story short is you save yourself $100 by going by bus. For me, having 2 kids, it didn't really make sense to force them to lug their stuff across town early in the morning on the bus, on the SkyTrain, through the station, when we could just get up and jump in the car. Whistler isn't as well set up for foot travelers as it is for motorists, which is probably why they have such a bad traffic problem. For example, if you arrive by bus, but you don't take up the mountain with you, you'll probably have to pay $20 or $30 to leave in left luggage. By comparison, there's lots of free parking. That's the thing about car culture. Parking is free at ski slopes, parking is free at the accommodation, parking is free in front of our house. There are free buses in Whistler Village. The village shuttles are the 4, 5 and 8, but on this particular trip they weren't going our way. Another sign that Whistler doesn't take its bus service that seriously is the fact that they don't even have contactless payment. You still have to find the exact change when you get on the bus. Another consideration is the different cancellation policies of Epic Rides and Modo. With Epic Rides, you have to give at least 48 hours notice by email that you want to cancel for a full refund. You can make changes for free by logging in a minimum of 8 hours in advance of your departure. and if you don't have an account, you have to phone, in which case that you need to give 24 hours notice. And each change costs $10 per change per ticket. And there's also credits on offer. You can get credits if tickets are cancelled 24 hours or more prior to your original departure date. So as far as Modo is concerned, if you give 12 hours notice or more, then you don't pay anything. On a 4-day trip, you could cancel halfway through the trip and you would still get refunded. Any time that is beyond 12 hours, you get refunded the full amount. And if you cancel with less than 12 hours notice, you'll be billed for 50% of your original time charge. It gives you a lot of flexibility and peace of mind. When you add up all these things, the convenience, the fact that you can go from door to door, you get free parking everywhere, Modo was always going to be my first choice. This was the only trip I took in January, so you can imagine why it doesn't make sense if I'm biking and the whole family is using bikes and transit to get around in Vancouver and occasionally using a Modo. You can see why it makes a lot of sense just to car share over car owning.